Abokobi is Ghana's Vatican City, where the priest rules. The Vatican City, Abokobi, is located in the Ga East municipality of the Greater Accra region. It is also the capital town of the Ga East municipality. It is about 24 kilometers east of Accra. Geographically, Abokobi is located on about latitude 5 degrees north and about longitude 0.2 degrees west. A journey from Accra to Abokobi is a maximum of 39 minutes without vehicular traffic. Neighboring towns of Abokobi include Madina, Oyibi, Ebri and Peduase.
A group of people in Basel, some renowned, wealthy people, in fact Christians of course, got themselves together, trained, dedicated young men who want to come and spread the good news in Africa. And their name is Basel Mission Society, BMS for short. So by the year 1828, college. So 3 of them were sent here. Others went elsewhere, but we are concerned about here. So 3 of them came here. And within a short time, all of them died because the climate was very hostile to them, mosquitoes and other strange diseases. So they all died. Then another set was also brought later. And of the 3 which came again, there was a medical doctor on the team who was supposed to take care of them. But the medical doctor and the other person also died. Remaining one person, and he is called Rees. If you hear Andreas Rees in the history of the Revolutionary, that was how his name became popular, because he was the only person who survived the unfavorable climate. And we are told that he survived because, you know, the Danes had been in control of the Gold Coast by then. It was the Danes who sold the fort to the British. Yes. And so when he came, because they were all Europeans, he associated himself with them, and so they were able to maybe guide him or tell him about maybe how he could take care of himself so far as the mosquito or the malaria issue is concerned. He was really attacked by the malaria, and he had a local preparation, which you all know. You might have the lady you are Tumasi. You know, when somebody is sick, the old ladies would prepare Odido, yes, for them. So it was this thing, and you can imagine a white man looking at this thing and drinking. It was an issue of death and life. He drank it, and that was what made him survive.
After the Europeans bombed the coastal town of La, Teshi and Nungwa in the then Gold Coast for failing to pay their poll tax.
When the British came, they were interested in colonizing the country then. So they introduced taxes. You know, taxation is a form of generating revenue to take care of the country. So in the year 1854, when the poll tax ordinance was introduced, you might have heard of it. Being learned people, you might have heard of it. So the towns on the coast, the Gan states, that is Accra proper, that's Gamashi, Osu, La, Teshi, and wherever Tema is standing alone. You know, from what to Tema, you see that you can cross an expanse of land before you get there. But these 5 stations, that's Accra, Gamashi, Osu, La, Teshi, and Nwa are like together. And so when they brought out the poll tax ordinance, the citizens refused to pay. And so they threatened to bomb the towns if they still insisted that they were not paying. We were told at the last minute, Accra, that Gamashi, went in to pay, so they were spared. But Osu was bombed, La was bombed, Teshi was bombed, including Nwa.
As a way to assure the converts of their love, Andres Rees and the other missionaries moved from the coast to acquire land in the Abokobi area for their converts and also to protect them from being disturbed by the natives of the coastal area. Thus, Abokobi is the Christian community established by the Basil missionaries.
What happened was that when they came, like in Acts, when you go to Acts 6, you see that when Peter and Paul and the others were ministering, it came to a time that the Greek widows of the Greeks and the widows of the main Israel, confusion came among them, because when it comes to sharing of items to the widows, there was priority given to the Jews. You see. So the Greek converts started complaining, and it took a lot of the disciples' time to, discuss and agree on distribution of those things, and it took their time from prayer and other things. So they said that now let us appoint people who will look at those things outside spiritual things, and so that we take care of prayer and preaching. So we strongly believe that it was the same thing which the missionaries taught, and so they said, look, we have come to spread the word, but we have come to a place where the people will respond to a chief and all that. So let us select somebody who will take care of the political aspect of the town, so that we take care of the spiritual. Yes, so at that time they nominated one person, and we believe the first person, we don't know whether it was autocratic, whether they chose him and just planted it on the people or not. But subsequently, that has been the order, so that when the stool is vacant, the whole church will come and pray, and then nominations are made. Then they are interviewed and shortlisted to about maybe at least two, maybe can 2 or 3 or others, but to at least 2, let's say 2. And then the church members with good standing. Good standing means you're a communicant, you pay your tithes, you are responsible and all that. So they will vote on the person. In fact, with a very strong prayer and direction, they'll pray, and the person who wins the vote, the highest vote, becomes the elected chief. Then prayers are said, an order is followed and is installed right in the church, without the slaughtering of animals and all that.
The town Abokobi has a 3 governance system: religious, political, and traditional, also known as chieftaincy. The chief is installed by the Presbyterian Church Session of Abokobi, the only chief in Ghana who owns no allegiance to any paramountcy. The religious authority is vested in the priest of the Presbyterian Church, and the representative of the central governance attends to secular issues.
I think majority of the people here obviously will have to be Presbyterians, majority of the people, if not all. If that happens to be the case, what has been the church's reaction to other denominations coming into? Because we know of Boko Haram who say that Western education is sin. I think that is a translation of Boko Haram. So they will not allow their wars to go to. And so what has been the church's reaction to other denominations coming into the town?
Okay. Since the place was established as a Presbyterian town, all those who came in were to report to the church or to the chief. And the condition for accepting you, that was in the olden days, the condition of accepting you is that you will be baptized a Presbyterian, and then you will be offered land on which you work. So if you are not prepared in the first place to be a Christian, and the secondly a Presbyterian, you need not come, because that is the basic qualification which will make you be accepted. We have read about people from other faiths who managed to come in, but they could not practice the belief that they had. So you either have to convert or to leave, because the options will put straight away in your face, so that you either accept it.
Sesemi, Another historically rich settlement in Ghana is an adjoining settlement of Abokobi. It could best be described as slave settlement, and ironically, a settlement where slaves became royals. Sesemi, formerly Jabing, served as a home to slaves and their masters for so many decades until the slave trade was abolished. The original settlers were the people from Brekuso, from whom the white slave masters acquired the land. The town derived its name from the sesame tree, which was the predominant tree in the area. Slaves brought from the hinterlands to Sesemi passed through a pyramid-lined alley which guides the slaves from straying. The alley also served as canopy to protect the slave master from excessive sunshine whenever they moved from the Christianborg to Sesemi. Thus, the pyramid alley stretched from the Christianborg through Legon Hill to Sesemi.
Sesemi came about as a result of Danish activities in the Gold Coast around 1856. They were here to trade in human being and gold. But somewhere along the line, the slave trade business started to decline, as well as the gold business. So they decided to enter into agriculture. And some of them approached the Aquapims of the Brekuso people and acquired the land from them. They purchased the land from them for their farming business. See, by then, our ancestors, who were slaves with them, they were those who helped them to work on their farm, on their farms. But this land on which we are now, in actual fact, belonged to the people of Brekuso, but it was purchased, not this land alone, including Abokobi land, from here to Abokobi. But it was purchased and paid for. I have copies of the receipt right in my diary here, in my library here. So it was here that they were doing their farming business, and it came to a time that the slave trade was going to be abolished completely. By then, the gold also was not coming as they wish it could. So what happened was that their government decided to recall them back to their country. So when they were going, by that time they have come to put this fort with the assistance of our ancestors, enslaved ancestors already. So when they were going, they left our ancestors here, who were fetched from other regions. They had forgotten where they came from. So they stayed here and continued to farm small, until some other people from Osu came to join them here. So briefly, this is how Sesemi came about. Yes.
Thank you very much. And so, if I recall what you said, so the Danes came here because of a slave trade and
Yes.
the gold.
Yes. They came to the Gold Coast because of the slave trade and gold. Not here, but here they came to make their farming business here.
Right.
Yes.
Please, could you tell us why the choice of this particular place?
Because of the climate. The climate was very good for them. So even when this fort was built up, every weekend the governor in Osu was carried here. They carried him in something like palanquin from the castle to from the Osu castle to this village. He will come and spend the weekend here, and then maybe around mid of the week, he was carried back to the castle. because the climate here was very good for them.
The story of Sesemi and its slave-related issues cannot be fully told without mentioning the Dakobi River. River Dakobi takes its source from the western portion of the Akuapem-Togo range and flows southwards. The river served as the last birth point for slaves who were moved from the mini dungeon of the Frederick's Grave in Sesemi to Christianborg before they were finally shipped to the West Indians.
So you said they brought some slaves from the hinterland, those then and put them here, and then even when they were leaving, they hadn't forgotten where they took them, and so they stayed
That
here.
is it.
Is this place, how did it contribute to the slave trade? Is it the case that they made a stop over here? They will bring them from other areas, make a stop over here, and then send them.
That is so. That is so. When they brought them here, they used to go and watch them at the Dakobi down there, between the Abokobi and that Dakobi river over there. And then from here, they take them to the Osukas before they ship them to West Indies also, according to them. I think North America area.
From 1788 onwards, the Danes established a total of 15 plantations on the Gold Coast. 8 of these were located along the Akuapem Range. The plantation Frederick's Grave was named after the then reigning monarch in Denmark, Frederick VI. In February 1831, the plantation was together with 32 slaves bought from the former owner of the Danish governor, L.V. von Hain. Frederick's Grave was one of the plantations from 1831 to 1850. The Danes used enslaved Africans to cultivate a number of crops, including coffee, cotton, tobacco, and dye plants. Thanks to the breeze and windy position of the site, Frederick's Grave was well suited to serve another purpose. After years of cultivation and with only few kilos of coffee and cotton shipped to Denmark, the plantation took up another function. It became a much appreciated recreational and recovery site for Danes on the Gold Coast who have become severely ill, having been affected by tropical diseases. Others use the plantation sites for recreational activities away from their daily duties at the Danish Christianborg, 30 kilometers away. The enslaved workers at Frederick's Grave worked for their owners 3 or 4 days a week. They spent the rest of the weekdays on allocated plots of land to farm their daily subsistence. They cultivated maize, cassava, yams, plantain, and a variety of vegetables. The Frederick's Grave slaves were liberated in 1848, when in 1850, all Danish possessions including Frederick's Grave were sold to the British. The population became liberated slaves. Some left, new inhabitants came, and they populated Jabing until the 1920s when the village was abandoned in favor of the village we know today as Sesemi. The Taramid trees. They were planted along the old Danish road from Christianborg Castle on the coast to Bibiase Plantation in 1802. The road was constructed to follow an existing footpath from Christianborg across the Legon Hill to the foothills of the South Akuapem Mountains. Remnants of the Pyramid Ally can still be seen on the southern side of Legon Hill, the administrative block of the University of Ghana, a village, and the village of Bongpo, and behind the European cemetery at Abokobi.